Hello, I'm really excited to do this video today. It's the first pick a card reading that I've made in quite a while. Um, but yeah, it feels like the right time to do that. So it is the autumn equinox today. Equinox, however you say it. Um, and yeah, I thought I would do, I thought I would do a reading that is focused questions around the equinox and kind of what energy we're working with as the season changes and as we go into more of the darker months. This can be a time of like slowing down for people, but honestly, some people really thrive in this sort of environment and this sort of time. So I'm sure each pile will be different, but yeah. So this is going to be pile number 1, this little green carved elephant, if I can get it to focus. This is going to be pile number 2, and this is going to be pile number 3. Oop, so cute. My father actually carved this. All right, so I'll let you pick your pile, and I will see you there. Hello, pile number 1. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look into here is what harvest you can reap from the work that's already been done, like leading up to this time period. You've been working on something already, whether it's internally or externally, and let's just see like what's going to be harvested with what you've already done. Okay, so empowerment, it is the 5 of Wands, but I like how in this deck it's more based around standing your ground, knowing that something is worth fighting for. I feel like also this is giving you the vibe of like dedication to something. It's like you've been maybe facing a lot of resistance in whatever it is that you have been working towards, but you're also like in a place where you know what you want. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of different directions that you can be pulled in, but I feel like ultimately there is something that you very specifically feel like you want and something that you feel like you can move towards. I'm also noticing, like the 5 of Wands is usually like the typical image is like the 5 people fighting out in the street or whatever you want to say. But in this, image, this is just like a drawing, like an intimidation drawing on the side of a hill, and all the bows are actually laid to rest. So it kind of feels like whatever it is that you've been fighting and going up against and kind of like being challenged by, it's being laid to rest in some sense. And although like you've stood your ground, like you've made yourself known and people know not to mess with you or know not to tread on your dreams or whatever it is, for you. And I feel like whatever it is, this is also giving you a sense of empowerment. It's definitely giving you a sense of like, I can accomplish things, I can get things done. And if you've been feeling, maybe you feel like I haven't been working towards anything. Maybe you've been feeling like I don't have the patience or the understanding to work towards something. This is showing that if you feel pulled in a bunch of different directions, you will figure out how to either move in all of those directions and make it work, or you'll figure out how to put things down that don't really work for you and to really pick up the thing that does. I hope that makes sense. So then we're going to look into how you can use the abundance already around you to prepare for the darker times of winter. You have the Ace of Wands. So yeah, like I said, this plays together pretty nicely where, there's a sense of picking up something and going with the fire of your soul or going with like the spark that you feel. I also feel like this is starting a fire, and I'm thinking about knowing how to use your resources or knowing how to keep the light going. Even at times when you feel like you're being challenged, it's like you see all this like darkness around the bow. Oh my gosh, please. You see all the darkness around. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm so sorry. But yeah, you do see this like smoke. You see how there's a sense of like keeping it going, or even like with, okay, I'm gonna put it this way. It might feel like things are difficult around you, or it's like you don't see a lot of opportunity to move on something. When you get that like slight little idea, it's just like moving on it, or it's just like whatever little bit you have, like even if you're just grateful that you can breathe the air you have, like abundance in clean air, or abundance in like let's say you're finding yourself pulled in a bunch of different directions. It's like you have an abundance of ideas, you have an abundance of energy, you have an abundance of passion. And it's learning how to kind of like channel that and move with it, rather than kind of allow yourself to get stuck in the darkness of it, or like the thoughts that you can't do something, or the thoughts that, like, this is all about empowerment. You are moving with the spark of life so that you're able to keep that empowerment going, or it's like you're empowered enough to keep the fire going, to see the light in the dark. I hope that makes sense as well. Let's see. And then, what seeds can you plant that will grow in winter? What seeds can you plant that will grow in winter? Ooh, the Nine of Cups. So this to me is, okay, so you're feeling pulled in a lot of different directions. You get that spark, that direction, that inspiration that you're needing. This is all about generosity, so you could be extending yourself generously, but this is also the Nine of Cups. I feel like the message I get here is like having multiple things that you're doing, like, you know, feeling pulled in a bunch of different directions, but finding the time to kind of feed each of them a little bit. It's like doing what feels good for you, you know? Focusing on things, like if you want to plant seeds of things that you truly enjoy, bring you joy, allow you to be generous with your energy, like this is very specific, so, and I hesitate to list specifics because I don't want to limit anyone's experience. Like, this could show up in a multitude of forms, but the example they're showing me, and this might be a literal thing too, is that, you know, this person is like, I don't know, I'm seeing like singing bowls, or like, you know, Reiki, or meditation classes. Maybe it's like you really enjoy energy work, or you really enjoy, you know, singing bowls. Well, it's like you allowing yourself to invest that nurturing energy towards that, or, you know, maybe giving people a free meditation class, or there's something about being generous, but in a way that feels like, even if you're not getting paid for it, you feel happy that you're doing it, if that makes sense. I think I've asked that a bunch of times, but that's okay. So the thing that I also pick up here is just like listening to these inner calls of where you want to go, what you want to do, taking that empowerment and really sitting with it, knowing that, like, you know, feeling strong and steady in your energy. This also gives me the sense of like nothing can rock you off your boat, you know. There's like a small idea you have. If you nurture that small idea, it will bring a lot of emotional fulfillment, but also like just having the idea and having the courage to go towards it is also the fulfillment itself, which I think is really powerful and really, like, you know, it's special. So yeah, you honestly, like, just in general, if you want to know what seeds to plant, it's just anything that's going to make you feel how this person feels on this card. The imagery here is everything. And you can see that everything kind of flows together and works together. Okay. How does autumn make you more intuitive? How does autumn make you more intuitive? Hello. So you have the Five of Swords. Oh, frustration. I feel like right now, when it comes to your intuition, you feel like you keep hitting, like, missing the mark. It's like there's a sense of like trust that's being needed in this. I also feel like the frustration itself teaches you something. There's a really great trick with intuition, and I really like to listen to this. If you are looking for an answer towards something, and you go towards divination to find out the answer, pay attention to what you are hoping to hear. Pay attention to what there's something that you're looking to be validated. What is that thing? Because that little voice, that's your intuition. It's not ever very loud. It's a feeling. And sometimes that's the other thing, is like, you have to rely on senses other than like sight. I think something that's really important to know about like intuition in general and psychic abilities is that they don't, like, yes, there are categories like clairsentient, clairvoyant, all that, but it also exists outside of that too, in a more gray space. And sometimes you might get feelings but not really know why you're getting those feelings. And it's good to just observe them rather than get frustrated by the fact that you can't fully get a grasp on what it is you're feeling. Sometimes I get intuitive hits that don't make any sense, but then after some time passes, they make 100% sense. And this might be something for you as well. I feel like also it's helping you practice. Like, there's something, if you are missing the mark, like, you're practicing your aim, you're still getting experience from whatever you're going through. It can be very frustrating though, and I recognize that. Yeah, you might be going through kind of a challenging time right now in general. I also feel like you might be looking too closely at something and not fully being able to get the true messages from it. So it might be worth the while to step back from looking at this thing so closely, especially like if you're very emotional towards what the outcome will be, or if you're very emotional towards like this person or this whatever it is, like that will hinder the ability to see it clearly. So there's definitely a practice of detaching from the frustration, detaching from the emotional state that is happening within the intuitive abilities. And I hope that makes sense as well, because like, yeah, it's just you're right there, but it feels like there's just I don't know, sometimes you miss the mark, you know what I mean? So it's a chance of learning for sure. See, what does change of season inspire in you? What does change of season inspire in you? The Hermit. So yeah, this is a season for kind of going within, especially honestly, like right now we have so many planets in retrograde. It can feel really frustrating, and like these 2 5s down here, it can definitely feel that way. So I feel like with the Hermit coming out, this is a really good time period for you to look at like what things you can change, what things are not working for you, what things are, internally going on with you that you can work with, because when things move out of retrograde again, that will actually really benefit you. And I feel like, this is a season for you to reconnect with yourself, to better understand yourself, to better know your internal like workings, or to know yourself better, or to trust yourself more. There's definitely a sense of like learning the wisdom that you hold within yourself. And also, I will say this too, this might be a season where you are meeting some sort of guide, or you're getting involved with some sort of community that is helping you in some way. And I feel like that will help move you out of these states as well. But either way, even if it's like not a person physically, it could be just like, your own internal learning, or like reading, or whatever it is you're working towards. I do feel like this is giving you a sense of, yes, it's cold, yes, I'm out here in the dark, but I have a friend here with me, or there's a lot to be learned, or I don't get a sense of I feel like the challenges make you learn more, I feel like there's definitely a sense of you learning to guide yourself, to take initiative in things. The season's definitely inspiring you to go deep within and to like know yourself better. And also to know how to work with the frustrations you're facing and how to empower yourself in general. Okay. And then for the last question, what creative expression will emerge as the darkness grows? What creative expression will emerge as the darkness grows? I love it. Oh my god, I love it. First of all, I love when these two cards come out together, but I just love the fact that, you know, this, like I said, you're going on like a little bit of a journey here, but this is like you having the hope and the wisdom and just the audacity to believe in something, to feel guided, to trust. There's a sense of knowing here. There's a sense of like things working out and for you, and you know, the interconnectedness of everything. It's very much like you are experiencing like your creative expression for this time period is like, yeah, I'm in the dark, but I'm going to enjoy being in the dark. I'm going to enjoy this period. Maybe like, this is kind of specific, but maybe you've always been someone who's like, I hate how dark it gets, and I hate that. Like, but this year it's almost like you're approaching it with, it's going to get dark early and I'm going to go explore in the dark. There's like a sense of, I'm going to embrace this time period. I'm going to revel in it. I'm going to be guided by the stars. I don't always need the sun to light my path. And also I'm noticing how like this character is lit up. It reminds me of the Fool card. I feel like even going through the darkness, even being guided by the moon and the stars, the North Star, the like being guided in that way, like you are illuminated because you are listening to your own internal path, because you know how to be guided by that light. Like you are the light in this sense. And I feel like that's like the way that you communicate to other people is you're not going to get caught up in the frustration. You're not going to get caught up in the challenging energy. You're going to be more caught up in speaking a truth that is vibrant, something that is, sharing parts of yourself that are hopeful, sharing parts of yourself that it's like you're freed from something. It's like you're no longer holding yourself back. It's like you're really, I'm also noticing like this, and then this glow too over here. It's like you're really listening to your heart's desire. You're really listening to, so there's a story, there's a myth, a goddess. There's a goddess called the Spider Goddess or the Spider Woman. Either way, the whole idea is that she spun the web of the cosmos, and she, everything is connected to one another. And above everyone's head is a little door that leads to her directly, or is like a web that leads to her directly. And this is how I see, like, you are opening yourself up to listening to divine information. You're opening yourself up, like you feel empowered in your abilities, but it's like you feel guided down a path. And I feel like that's something that's going to be really prevalent for you this winter. It's like you are trusting that inner calling, you're trusting that voice. I feel like maybe you might invalidate yourself a lot. And this is a way of you no longer doing that. It's kind of like you recognizing what calls to you and where that voice even calls from, like what part of you wants that thing. And it's very much inspired, it's very much hopeful. There's definitely a sense of feeling more optimistic and feeling like even if you're in the dark, you can see your way through it. And I really hope that this resonates for you. I hope that this has a message for you, and I hope you have a wonderful equinox, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye. Hello, pile 2. You chose this red elephant. I really wish I knew what stone that is. I want to say that it's oh my god, why are words? Jasper. But I could be totally wrong on that. So, that's what that is. It was a gift to me, and I really just appreciate the gift, So cute. I love the like quartz that's in its trunk too. Just cool. It's a cool thing. Okay, so I'm going to ask 6 different questions in terms of your energy towards the equinox and how it's going to affect you. Equinox. I'm going to go back and forth this whole video. Okay, so first we're going to look at what harvest you can reap from with the work that you've already done. So what are you gaining this harvest through the work that you've already put in? Let's see, you have the 6 of Cups, reunion. So this definitely gives me a feeling of like you've been putting a lot of work in terms of your friends, your family, nurturing like your surroundings and your inner child. I feel like that could also be something that let's put it this way. If you've been doing inner work, especially like around emotions and connections with others, this is definitely a time period for you where you will see the bounty of that. You'll be experiencing a lot of peace within your connections. Maybe you'll be reuniting with old friends, maybe even like talking to family members that you haven't really been that close to recently. I don't necessarily see not being close because of like drama. I see it more so like, everyone's just kind of busy. Everyone's adults. Everyone's doing their own thing. They might not have time to necessarily sit down and catch up, but that might be what's happening here. I also feel like in general, like you could be, experiencing a sense of renewal or a sense of just enjoyment with where things are at. I feel like in general, this is a very promising energy. It's very sweet. I think sometimes the 6 of Cups can indicate where there is like a slight imbalance in our life, but I feel like again, the energy I get just looking at this card is not imbalance. I more so feel like serenity and calm. The reunion stands out to me. The fact that there's like, community, or the fact that there's just enjoyment in life right now. And I feel like it really does come from quite a bit of internal work. I would say that. So I feel like all this internal work that you've been doing, it's starting to pay off. You're starting to approach relationships with more openness, or you're starting to, like there's more ease and availability within your life. And I think that's really great. Let's see. So then we're going to see how you can use the abundance of this to prepare for darker times in the winter. Let's see. Ooh. Yeah, man. Your energy is absolutely beautiful. Like, I just get this feeling here with these 2 cards that you're at a great place in life. Like the World card is all about, a sense of completion and wholeness, and the World tree is, it's what connects us all. It's also just like there's a sense of just wholeness here. It feels like really the threat of darkness doesn't even enter your mind, because it's like everything's good. Like I can manage it. I can take care of it. I do see a focus on bigger picture things that might come up. So during this darker time, where it gets darker, you might be really focusing on the home, or you might be really focusing on community. You might be really focusing on family connections, or like, I'm getting the sense of like, oh, it's cold outside, we're all like cooped up inside, like let's start game night, or let's start something new together that can help us grow together. There's definitely a sense of togetherness, and it's like not just for you, it's like for the group, and I feel like that's also really beautiful. I also feel like this winter is going to be a great time. Like you're already quite far on your spiritual path, I would say, like spiritual journey. Like you've gone through a lot. You've healed a lot of things. So I feel like for you, it's just about kind of keeping it the way it is for as long as possible. Obviously, there's always like change is inevitable, but when you're at a place of like inner peace like this, there's just a sense of like maintaining it essentially. And that's what I pick up on here. Um, yeah, definitely. Um, Also, like I said, a bigger energy too. So you might be focused on more things that are not like it's like it affects you, but it's more so you're putting energy into something as well. I think I mentioned that already, but that's worth saying again. Okay, so then what seeds can you plant that will grow in the winter? That's so funny. I think this card came out in the last pile. So I'm just gonna read it. It's very different energy though. I don't think that the two piles are connected. What I would say with this though is that, okay, there's a sense of laying low in these cards. There's a sense of like embracing the home, you know, being with where you are. I feel like the more you try to plant seed, like for you, you're someone who, if you're trying to plant seeds during this time, you might be faced with a lot of frustrations. It could have to do with like the retrogrades we're having. It could have to do with like, you know, just in general, like the surroundings. I feel like if you try, like it's like the more you try, the more you miss. So I feel like, you know, it's not that you, like this to me is planting seeds, like this embracing the home, embracing connections with other people, you know, really just like embodying where you're at, because I feel like almost you have things already planted that will come to fruition after the winter. But it's like it's not time to build more, because the more you try to do, the more frustrated you'll feel. So it's kind of just about, like I said, maintaining what it is you've already started, what it is you've already worked towards, what you've already accomplished, you know, keeping it sustained rather than planting anything new. That's not to say that in the future you won't be planting new seeds, but I honestly feel like right now, the more you try to add to your plate, the more frustrated you'll feel. So that's just the vibe I get with this. This is definitely more of a time for you to be focusing on the home, the friendships, the connections that you have around you, and also reuniting with yourself in some way, like reuniting with your creativity, reuniting with, you know, whatever the word reuniting means for you. Let's put it that way. Okay. So then how does autumn make you more intuitive? How does autumn make you more intuitive? I feel the card that wants to come out. Ooh. Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, like I said, you've already done quite a bit of work. So I do feel like you are very intuitive. You know how to listen to that internal voice. And I get the sense that it's funny because these two cards did come out in the last pile, but it's a similar message, but it's also different. It's like there's something about being able to thrive in the darkness. Like there's something about not fearing it, not really being that affected by it. Like, yeah, you might want it to be more lighter, but it's almost like you take advantage of the light that you have. You understand that the dark is there and you can just work with that as well. There's also a sense of like just you in general, like you already do listen so much to your intuition that I don't even feel like the autumn really affects it that much, if I'm being honest. It feels like you're just really tapped in and you already are pretty aware of like the path that you're on. So I feel like it's just guiding you further down that path and like really just trusting, you know, the direction you're going in. It really is a beautiful, like this to me is the card of intuition, because it's like you're listening to your internal guidance. So I feel like that's just something that like the darker it gets, the more colder it gets, the more like in tune you are, because like you don't need that external light to like, you know, guide you. It's really nice. It's definitely listening to your own path. And also like I see this person coming out from the trees, you know? So it's like where things were muddled or confused, it's like there's a clearing. There's, you know, an opening. There's a sense of seeing that bigger picture that I mentioned before, and also like seeing the connectedness and in general just listening to where the guidance takes you to lead you out of any frustration that you are facing. And also, you know, frustration, I don't ever like to paint emotions as like bad or good, because to me frustration, it serves a purpose, you know what I mean? So I feel like even if you are facing frustrations at some point during the winter, it's like you see that they serve a purpose, and whatever that purpose is, you're able to recognize it, and I think that's really wonderful. um what does the change of seasons inspire in you? What does the change of seasons inspire in you? Just one, please. Thank you. Ooh. So yeah, there's you might be, so this change of season, you might be faced with two different paths you can go down. But you have a lot of fiery, powerful energy here that is able to make that decision. I feel like in this position, like focusing on the home, focusing on the connections, focusing on maintaining, there will be a call, like a call to, or maybe there will be a frustration that's faced and then a call to go in a new direction. And I feel like this is ultimately your decision. I feel like honestly, both paths are great. It's not like there's this or that. It's more so like whatever you choose will be the right thing, because you'll just have that power behind you to make it the right thing. I also feel like this is going to be a time where you feel very motivated and you feel very driven. It's like a time for reflection for you as well. So it's definitely inspiring you to reflect on things, look at the direction you're going in, and making changes where you see necessary or where you see fit to make changes so that you can really go in that direction that you truly want to go in. If you're creating the future you truly want to create. But again, remembering that you definitely have this power within you to do it. You definitely have this strength. You definitely have this ability to, it's like heed the call. That's like how it comes through. And I'm noticing like all the stars behind, and like the star, you know what I mean? Like you're definitely listening to your intuition and feeling very guided. You might be feeling guided towards two things. Instead of getting frustrated about that decision, it's more like just where you know you can direct your energy and what you can do with it. Also, like remaining grounded is a really important part of this. I'm just noticing how like this person seems to be like up in a peak somewhere, like where there's a sky that's very vibrant. There's really a very small amount of room to move around on. It gives me the vibe of like the peak of a mountain or something, or the peak of a hill. You know, I can't tell if this is clouds or if this is smoke. Either way, it's creating a bit of a filter. It's like you might not necessarily have all the information in order to make the clearest decision. So that could also be part of it, where there's desire to go, there's desire to move on something, but it's also like really making sure you can see clearly, as clearly as possible, at least, or having all the information as possible to do this thing, because I feel like that will be very important. All right, and then, but there, I will say there is like a leap of faith, I guess, that's kind of needed with this card. And that might come into play as well. It's like having that optimism of like, this is just gonna work out. I just know it is. What creative expression will emerge as the darkness grows? What creative expression will emerge as the darkness grows? Ooh. So then you have the Strength card. It's called the Stag in this deck. Yeah, like I said, you are a very powerful impact. Like this is somebody, like I cannot stress this enough. Okay. When people tell you that you need to heal, they are just telling themselves that they need to heal, because I feel like you really embody a very strong-minded person, like you know what you're capable of. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and you don't even see like weaknesses as a bad thing. You just see it more so as like a place to improve upon, or it's like there's a sense of compassion that happens with yourself when you are facing the frustrations. Like you're very capable of getting yourself out of really tough situations. You're really capable of standing up for yourself. You're really like, you are somebody who has done the work sees life in a very different perspective than other people. And I feel like this season for you is really all about embracing that inner strength, embracing that inner compassion, you know, feeling the passion that you feel, you know, allowing yourself to be guided by your intuition, and also just embracing the moment where you are and maintaining, you know, the good things that have already happened for you, because it really does feel like you have such a loving community around you and a loving, you know, just a loving presence of energy, and just very much like, you know what you're doing, you know the path you're on. And I feel like even, you know, watching a video like this, you know what is going to be said, like, you know how your energy is. There's definitely a sense of being a very strong-willed, strong capable, strong-minded person, someone who not only is strong, but like there is like so much strength in the sweetness and in the childlike wonder that also appears with you, because like the Six of Cups to me is this sort of childlike card. And it does, and like even the star in this case, it reminds me of like being so open, being so optimistic, having all this like fire and drive, and you know, even when things feel frustrating, you know when to put things down, you know when to act on them. Like there's just a sense of trusting yourself during the season, because I feel like it's going to bring out all the best parts of you. And like I said, the only thing I would really recommend is like, even if you feel like you need to make a decision on something, like there might be something that needs immediate attention, but don't, it's like remembering that if you're trying to plant tons of seeds during the next few months, you might not, it's not that you won't have success, it's more that you will just face more frustrations. I truly believe that it has to do with retrograde energy as well. Just like whatever is aspecting in your chart or whatever. It could also be like the end of the Saturn in Aquarius. I think that could also be playing into it as well. There's definitely something about, like, I don't usually read astrology, but I do see like the Saturn return that's happening right now being effective. And again, there's just some like, there's some struggles, there's some challenges that come up if you try to like go for something kind of spontaneously. But I feel like if you more so nurture this other energy within you, this more like strength, the world, you know, your relationships, your connections, even nurturing this Two of Wands, because like this is such an empowered energy, I feel like that will give you a lot more comfort. And I feel like whatever frustration you do face, you will be able to kind of handle it, which you already are doing, honestly. So yeah, I really hope that this has resonated for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, and I hope you have a good one. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose this face carving that my dad made, this is your reading. Okay, so I have 6 questions that I'm going to ask in regards to the upcoming season that we're going through, and let's see what comes out. The other 2 piles have been really different and interesting, but also kind of similar, so I'm curious to see how this will go. Right. So, what harvest can you reap from the work you've already done? What harvest can you reap from the work that you've already done? Ooh, there we go. Queen of Cups. It's a salmon in this case. So I'm thinking about salmon, right? I'm thinking about how they have to swim upstream against the current in order to, like their sole purpose is to like swim up, lay the eggs, and then, you know, have babies, essentially. At least that's my understanding of salmon. I could be totally wrong. Please feel free to correct me. But I'm just thinking about how there's like so much tenacity there. And the Queen of Cups is all about like emotional, you know, emotional wellness, love, you know, creativity. So there could be like a harvesting of these really positive aspects of like giving, you know, giving your best, or being creative, or we're, there could be those sorts of things coming through. But I also see that this could be like there's something that you've fought so hard for, and it's because it's like there's no other option to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though you know the odds are against you, you still know that what you're fighting for, what you're going towards, is worth it. And there's definitely a sense of like, this is what it is, this is what I have to do, and I'm not going to let other people's doubts or fears stop me from doing it. I'm not going to let other people's opinions sway me from this point, because there is no other point. Like, it's very strong-minded, it's very strong-willed. That energy came up before too, but this is somebody who is so emotionally grounded, is so intuitively tapped in, is like, there's just this awareness of like, I know what I have to do, I'm here to do it, I'm going to do it. And it's very, very powerful. I would also say that there's a chance for you to be, harvesting like the love that you've put into something, or like if you've been fighting towards something, like you start to see the payout from that. And it might not be huge, verbose, or whatever else. It's like there's a sense of it being subtle, necessary, but appropriate. And it's very interesting. Those are like the exact words they're giving me. So I know for someone that's going to make sense, but yeah, that's all I can say about it. Okay, so how can you use this abundance to prepare for darker times? You have, this is my group where the witches are, I see. Or shamans, or energy workers, or tarot readers, or, I mean, yeah, definitely like psychics, witches, 100% with this sort of energy. So, this winter, oh my gosh, I love this energy. Wow. Okay, so this winter, like the period we're going into right now, you're gonna be called to the more wild magic side. It's like so unique. It feels like wherever you've been skimming the surface in your practice, it's like you go really deep. There's definitely a deepening of rituals. There's a deepening of experiences, or like of prayer, or like I'm just getting such a magic vibe. Like you might even feel called to do like some sort of ritual work for the equinox, or for like, there's definitely something about harnessing this sort of internal power, bringing it into like a ritualistic sense, but also like, it's not just like magic, because like, let's say you're not a witch. I highly doubt that's true, but the thing that I'm picking up on here is like, with your emotional intelligence, with this driven attitude of like, there's the point, I have to go towards that point. This is like you recognizing all the resources you have around you already, and just like cultivating them, using them. Like you have so much around you. And I'm also noticing like this shaman, for the longest time I thought that he was like in a cave because it's so dark, but I'm just thinking now that like this is, I'm noticing there are trees, and I'm noticing the background has sky in it. So I feel like there's a sense of like, even in the darkness, like that, like you've got your candle. There's no sense of like it not, you know what I mean? There's just this moment where you're like, I don't need to slow myself down. I can still honor my natural rhythms. I can still honor what I'm working towards. I can still do this. It might change, like the season changes. So there's like a salmon season. So it's like salmon season might end, but then there's like this, okay, then it gives me hermit vibes, but it gives me much more like alchemical, like just really working with what you've got and like turning things into gold, essentially, is like the vibe. So I feel like, you know, it's just you really harnessing that inner power that you have and really like bringing it into being. This could also be a card of manifestation. Manifestation does tend to be a bit of a buzzword, I think. So the way I see manifestation personally is like you calling something in, you aligning with it, and it just like, you know, it builds itself up over time. So let's see, what seeds can you plant that will grow in the winter? What seeds can you plant that will grow in the winter? Ooh. So, like I said, there's like a sense of attraction, like bringing something towards you. This can also be like, okay, so I get a couple of different messages here. Number one, seeds that you can plant, relationships with others. These two cards are about love in some regard. Sorry about the, oh my gosh, the focusing. This could be like harnessing love, harnessing attraction, harnessing like, you know, like maybe you work really hard on your business. Maybe you work really hard on, you know, like whatever this point is for you, maybe that's the case. And like this winter might call for you to put more energy and effort into relationships, whether they're new or existing. But also, if it's not like an actual relationship with another person, I could see how, and it honestly could be both of these things too, but I could see how it's like pouring love into the thing that you're working on. So it's like not just that you have this ritualistic sense, it's that you're also pouring love into it and like attracting more of that as well. There's definitely a sense of finding balance. There's a sense of, you know, giving yourself to something. But feeling empowered and doing it, you're not giving something until you drain. Do you know what I mean? It's very much like feeling, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. It's like being supplied by the divine. Like there's no shortage of it because it's divine in nature. So whatever it is that you're giving, you don't, like other people might look at you and be like, wow, I can't believe they do so much. Wow, I can't believe like they pour so much into that. Like to that person, it might be exhausting to think of doing that, but you literally have this support from the divine that is so strong that like you don't drain. Like there's a balance to giving to yourself as well, but I feel like even this divine energy in nature that comes through for you, it is something that it like assists you in taking care of yourself. It assists you in finding balance. It's not just like using you as a channel. It's more so like it's all encompassing. That's just the best word I can put for it. It's like this energy is really unique from the other piles, because this group gives me the feeling of like you could have a divine counterpart, or you could have like even just like a really healthy like relationship with someone. You could have like a business partnership with someone. I'm also picking up that like whoever is in your circle, whoever's in your like immediate life, there's a sense of like their support meaning so much to you. It's like that fire helps like ignite, you know, the spell candle or whatever it is. There's definitely a feeling of like helping each other out. This is reminding me of someone I know who is a writer, and her partner works in like audio engineering, and he ended up helping her produce like her audiobook, which like it's that sort of support. Do you know what I mean? Like this might not necessarily be someone who works directly with you, but they want to see you succeed. So your creativity, their creativity, it helps feed it. Whether this is like a relationship romantically or just a friend, there is a sense of like uniting with someone else, helping each other out and really feeling that ignition. There's also like a shared passion, I feel like, or just a shared vision in general. And that also is like the love of the vision helps you continuously pour into it. You definitely have mastered love, if you know what I mean. Like you definitely have this energy of someone who understands how to harness their love, how to harness their passion, how to harness, like there's this ultimate like harnessing energy. How does autumn make you more intuitive? How does autumn make you more intuitive? Seven of Stones, healing. It's a very healing time for you. I also feel like there's just something about, I'm like noticing like the Stonehenge or the stones around it. Like there's just something about you again, this shaman, the healer. This is a time period where you do a lot of deep work, that ritualistic work I was picking up on. This is also a time where you're really able to tap, like the other energy felt like there was a navigation through the darkness. You feel like you exist in it. Does that make sense? Like, yes, there is light, but there's also this sense of like, you just like there's just this full embodiment of like the shadow. There's this full embodiment of just knowing that you have so much power within you. You have so much healing energy within you. You heal people without even knowing you heal people. Do you know what I mean? Like just you talking to them or them being in your energy in general, it brings about the sense of healing. It brings about the sense of peace and calm. Like you are very vibrant even if you exist in this darkness. I feel like to you it's not even a question of like, how am I going to manage? It's more like, how am I going to use this energy to my advantage? How am I going to embrace this and like produce with it? It's very powerful. It's very potent. I'm very drawn to the fact that there's like, you know, the heart, there's like this light here, there's like her head, there's like this light here. Just there's like a golden light that seems to be maybe like golden hour would be really important for you. Dawn, dusk, like there's definitely a sense of harnessing this sort of golden light to aid you in moving through whatever it is that's coming up for you. This is a deep time of healing, but honestly, I see you affecting other people more than just yourself. Like this to me feels like, yes, it helps yourself, but in the act of helping other people, you also help yourself. It's very beautiful. And I don't think help is the right word, or heal. It's more just like, it's something that you're providing, you know? There's something that you're providing that is really beneficial for everyone, including yourself. And again, the golden light, like that divine energy I was seeing being channeled through, I feel like that really comes to play here too, where there's just like you are a channel essentially. Like that's the best way I can put it. You're able to really, you make very significant changes with the energy work that you do, or with whatever it is that you you focus on. It's really powerful. Let's see. Then what does the change of seasons inspire in you? What does the change of seasons inspire in you? The King of Swords. So I feel like, you know, there's this, yeah, you have an intense energy. You do. You have a very intense energy. I feel like it's soft, but it's vibrant. Does that make sense? And I feel like with this winter, you're going to kind of go from, like, there's, like, this is still very driven and intense energy, like I pointed out in the beginning. But the other thing that I pick up on with the Kingfisher is, like, this is you, like, getting a higher perspective of things, seeing things in a different light. But again, there's just this total decision to go towards something and just doing it. Like, making things happen is the phrase that comes to mind. Is just like, I'm gonna make things happen. Even if you are not sure how to, honestly, I don't even get that vibe. I think you're pretty sure how to. There's something you've been working towards, something that you pour your love into, something that you pour yourself into, something that you've been trying to manifest. And it's like, this is the time period where you're putting that action in. You're really like acting on those visions. You're really, there's a good detachment from the emotional side here, I would say, because it's like the more emotionally involved you get, the harder it is to push through it. But then, you know, the more you're able to see things in this, like, I'm just going for it, I'm just doing this, there's no stopping me. That's the sense that I get with this. So there's definitely like a focus, like a focused direction. What creative expression will emerge as the darkness grows? What creative expression will emerge as the darkness grows? Ooh. You have the Queen of Swords. Look at that. Like I said, I feel like for you, this might even be around communicating some of these other things that you've been learning and, you know, alchemizing. But I definitely feel like this is a time period for you to experience like the sense of direction, the sense of like being sure of yourself, the sense of like being a leader, you know, commanding respect, someone who you have something to say and people listen to you. Like that's 100% what I pick up on. There is a sense of like, there's a sense of allure, but it's not really like sexy allure, if that makes sense. It's more like energetic. Like you're energetically very alluring to people, I feel like. And that in itself is like very much going to help you. I also feel like, you know, the swan does not alter themselves to make themselves less beautiful, if that makes sense. So there's definitely a sense of like embracing these beautiful aspects of yourself, like the fact that you are so healing, the fact that you do have this beautiful connection to the divine, the fact that you are very highly intuitive, the fact that you are this like empowered witch who's trying to stand up to systems of oppression and things like that. It's like there is definitely this energy of embracing all those sides of you that other people might think are too much or think are whatever people have said. It's like really embracing that and just knowing like this is how I am. I'm proud to be this way and I'm going to always continue to be this way. Like maybe I'll improve, maybe I'll get better, but honestly, this is who I am. I'm not going to make myself small. I'm not going to make myself, you know, quiet. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. I'm going to go after the things that I believe in, and I don't care what anyone else says because no one else can stop me. And it's very powerful, driven energy. And like I said, there is this like strong divine element that comes through where you like, it almost feels like spirit is just completely like yeah, like spirit is telling you like this is what to do and you're just doing it. I feel like you and your connection to the divine is very intense and intertwined, and I feel like for like you might be someone who watches pick a card readings but like don't ever fully resonate with a message, and maybe you don't even resonate fully with this one, but it's because your energy is so unique that like I don't think most people would pick up on it. Do you know what I mean? Or not that they wouldn't pick up on it, they probably do, but it's more like they like, there's just something about the intensity of like who you are and your connection to the divine that makes it almost hard to look at and hard to see it fully, because it's like shrouded and it's also like very protected. It's very much something that is like, it's just intrinsic. That's how it feels. And when I said that, I saw like 2020 on the little clock thing. So yeah, thank you, pile 3. This has honestly been like an honor to do this reading. All the piles were really like wonderful, but this one specifically just has there's a very specific energy here, and I just, you know, this is someone I would want to be friends with. That's like the vibe I get. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great equinox, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.